Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So, at the conclusion of his stirring speech to Congress this morning, Ukrainian President Zelensky exhorted President Biden to be the leader of the world. And then Zelensky went on to say, being the leader of the world means to be the leader of peace. Now, Mr. Zelensky basically applauded President Biden's actions regarding military and economic assistance. But I think with those last few words, he was kind of prodding Biden to be a stronger leader, a tougher leader, a peace through strength leader. Earlier this week, I urged Mr. Biden to stand up to Putin, to be much tougher with Putin in both actions and rhetoric. When Putin barks about acts of war, the U.S. should bark right back instead of cowering by finding the nearest desk and crawling underneath it. Putin is a war criminal. He's a global pariah. He has made an enormous mistake in Ukraine. Tragically, the Ukrainians are bearing almost insufferable costs. But Putin and Putin's Russia will be the biggest loser, I think. He has a puny economy. His currency has collapsed. His stock market is closed. He's running out of wartime supplies. He's defaulting on his sovereign debt. More and more of his own people are rebelling. His soldiers are fleeing the convoy. His game plan to march through the Ukraine and take Kyiv has failed. Now, after prodding by Congress and prodding by the Europeans, Joe Biden is finally providing the kind of military and economic assistance that he should have put up before the invasion. At least now, he's getting most of it done. But I want to make a couple points here that should be done. First, there is simply no reason why the U.S. should not give the green light to Poland so those old Soviet MiG airplanes can be used by the Ukrainians. There's just no reason. Just say yes to the Poles. If Zelensky and his military think it will help, then help them. Second, the U.S. and Europe never got around to fully sanctioning the Russian oil and gas industry or some of their key bank lenders. But Wall Street Journal columnist Holman Jenkins has a very good idea. The Europeans can escrow Russian gas sales payments until the fighting comes to an end. And I'll quote my friend Holman Jenkins, the president of the Ukrainian Naftogaz, that's Yuri Vitrenko, and his pipeline, they deliver Russian gas to Europe. And they like the idea of a cash escrow. He thinks it's a lot better than actually shutting down the Russian gas wells, because once you shut the wells down, it takes a very long time to reopen it. But setting up an escrow account would at least stop the cash from flowing to Putin's war machine. I like this a lot, and I want to help Holman spread it around. I think people should really consider it. Now, look, if Russia wants to shut down all their wells, that's up to them. But it will cost them very badly in terms of the long-run damage. If and when the fighting ends in the Ukraine, they can get their money back, okay? If and when the fighting ends, they can get their money back out of escrow. Now, finally, Mr. Biden today finally got around to calling Putin a war criminal, all right? He kind of foot-faulted on his first serve, but he did get the ball in play on serve number 2. But what I'm not seeing in general is our president taking the lead and publicly attacking Putin and his insane policies. I'm talking about forceful speeches. Remember Ronald Reagan taking on the Soviet Union communists? We win, you lose. Remember Reagan working with Pope John Paul II and Margaret Thatcher to surround the Soviets on the world stage and box them in? Remember Reagan's evil empire? Remember tear down this wall? I know there's only one Reagan. It was my great honor to have worked for him years ago. He was, in my opinion, the greatest president in the 20th century. But in Mr. Biden's case, couldn't we have just a little bit of Reagan? How about that?